Hello, hello and welcome to my video. Now, instead of Torghast today, I want to showcase what I actually do when I play 30s, because I only play 30s. When I boot up World of Warcraft, I only have level 30 to go on, right? There is no level 80, no, oh, it's to level 35 or 20 or whatever. No, 30 or bust. That's my jam. And why? Because it's not balanced. Now, if you don't play 30s, if you don't play experience locked content whatsoever, you may think, man, the classes are so homogenized, are so balanced. You're like, it's boring. Now, at level 30, things are different. Because what you're looking at is their classes, their specs that do all the damage at the top end, right? But today, we are at the bottom end, actually at the ground below the bottom end of the totem pole. It is, of course, everyone's favorite pirate, the swashbuckler, the outlaw rogue. And it's a Vulpera, my only Vulpera, I believe. Why? Because the Vulpera racial does more damage than any rogue ability I have. Does more damage than the 5-point dispatch. It is what it is. Now, what do I usually do, right? Usually, I make silly builds, silly gear sets, themed, because I only play 30 and I gotta find something to do. If I just went for the best in slot gear, I would be doing raid carries all week and nothing else. But I want to play the game. So, what is the idea here, right? Outlaw Rogue. Outlaw Rogue is defined by, I want to say death by 1,000 cuts, but really it is slightly irritated by 1,000 cuts. Because Outlaw doesn't do damage. You see those trading dummies when I logged in? They were at 0 health. They are now at 48,000 health. I healed them by attacking them, I swear. No, this is hyperbole, of course. Rogue does less damage than any other spec at 30 by a bit of a margin. But it's interesting because Rogue is all about auto attacks. Really. If we look at little test run I did earlier, melee 26% of my damage over, what was that, like 2 minutes. That's it, right? But that you might say, hey, it's great, but it's shit. Why do you play it? Because that's the cool part about a rogue. It doesn't matter what gear you use or what. So you can go in talent tree. Let's go to talent tree. Let's look at it. Rogue, it's great. You got CC. You could go for gouge. You could go for AOE blind, all that. It's a big CC machine. You got sap. You got stealth. Can ambush. Whatever. But if you look at talent tree, and we're trying to maximize here the idea behind Outlaw Rogue. The idea is hit things a lot. Ineffectively, but a lot. So what options do we have here? I mean, you have grappling hook. It's of course movement. Now for damage, there isn't really much here on the left side. But what you're really looking for is, that one was, well, wound poison is like more PvP-ish. What you're really looking for is like the capstone talent, right? In this case, it'll be acrobatic strikes. Your auto attacks are a quarter of your damage. Well, then less then a quarter of your, then like 22%. But then you add acrobatic strikes, and it does 10% more. Now it's 3% DPS increase ish, right? So that is obvious. That's got to be the capstone talent. I mean, you could though, tight spender maybe, but then you have to go through a lot of that stuff, which you don't really want, right? Energy costs for CC, who cares? Now on the right side there's the choose, right? You got two talents. I just had to check that I'm not making shit up. You got 2 points in that second third of the tree. Now you could go. Main Gosh has an additional 5% chance to strike while Blade Fur is active. I mean, let's just pretend, or let's just say you're level 30. Most of the time, you're flying solo, right? You're flying solo, you're doing your own thing. If you have multiple enemies attacking you, you're already in trouble. You wanna, sap one, blind the other, focus the third, and then go second and third enemy, right? You don't want to pull 3-4 enemies. Critters, let alone normal mobs that actually fight you. So that, right? 5% chance of play for it, like, you got 2 capstone talent points, right? So I will say, Fatal Flourish, like, absolutely. You need more energy, which works well with the gearing choice that we can look at later. And the other one would be Heavy Hitter. It's 10% damage on attacks on your builders, right? That is Sinister Strike, that is Pistol Shot, which are, 22, like 30 of your damage, right? 30 of damage, just the combo, just the builders, right? That's just like average. I'll do a little showcase of the rotation later, even though it's probably not very good. Because my gear is also not very good. Let's get to gear here. Now, as I said, when you don't do damage, it doesn't matter what you put on. You could put on, your Sunwell, Ulduar, ICC, all that, put on the dagger from the Karazhan Opera event. Doesn't matter. You're not doing damage either way. So what I did over some 12 hours of running dungeons, I farmed a lot of weapons. I also farmed gear. I mean, I got a full 140 dungeon set, got really balanced stats, right? Like, 23, well, with can push like 25% crit, 50% haste, 50% versa. Depends a bit on the weapons, of course. Some have stats, some don't. It's like when you don't know, like, oh, what like stats do I want to go for? Balanced secondaries, never a bad choice. Probably never the optimal choice, but never a bad choice. Like, you can't go wrong with, like, balancing it out. And that's pretty cool. So got, of course, 2 trinket, and that feeds into the main idea of the build here, right? You got Vestige of Haldor, does fire damage on melee attack. No internal cooldown, just can happen whenever. It's a low chance, it's like 5% chance to proc-ish. And if we look at that, did it actually, like, sometimes it procs like 10 times over 2 minutes, sometimes procs like twice. And same thing for the Heartworm Thalak. Oh, fun story. When I made a first character and I was leveling during Wrath, I did run like old dungeons because, of course, there was no Atlas, but there was Atlas, so I didn't have Atlas loot, didn't know what dropped. I was just exploring these dungeons. I was over leveled, I was like level 70-ish. Now I was going into LBRS and UBRS, getting all the cool stuff that I still still have no carrot in the bank, right? Yeah. So one of them was like Heart of Worms attack. I was like, holy shit. It does like damage when I attack something. That's cool. Unfortunately, I played a hunter and I didn't really melee a lot, so. But it's a nostalgic trinket, right? Point is, like, that gear is like kind of set in stone. Still need to enchant it, need to gem it on a helmet and 2 rings, right? Now, what do you really? You can just like run dungeons, run raids with the guild, right? Get your gear, buy PvP gear in Dalaran, right? Whatever floats your boat. The point is, the weapon is the main. You would say the weapon is like the main squeeze of a rogue. Like, what weapons do you use? Now, I did have a thought like, what if I bind like weapon sets to macros and like switch weapons to a common? It's like it it incurs a GCD and it resets your weapon swing time. It's not really useful. So I tested all these weapons. They are, except for Ironfoot Dragon's Call, because I used them in a couple dungeons. They're all unenchanted. There are no consumables on it, and I came to the conclusion that regardless of what weapon you use, damage is about the same because the weapons deal like even the except for like the top choices, the weapons contribute about 1.5% to your total damage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what weapon you use. Like 1% of it's literally like 10 DPS difference. Yeah, that checks out. 10 DPS difference between the weapons, and of course, Outlaw Rogue is big gambler, big gambling spec, needs to seek professional help. So, but it checks out. Like unupgraded or unenchanted, unsocketed gear is like 500, 600 DPS, consistent, like over a 2-3 minute. There are 2-3 minute tests, like 500-600 DPS regardless of what. Now the best choice, there's 2 options you can go, 3 options. You go Ironfoot Dragon's Call, you can go double Dragon's Call since it's not unique, which spawns a lot of dragons, which isn't really good in dungeons because the dragons kind of like, you can't control them, like in multi-target environments they kind of just do whatever. Ironfoe does not proc a lot, but it's cool when it does. That's, these are like the obvious choices. The other ones are Fist of the Damned and Raise Scythe. Where is it? There it is. It's Drain Life effect, Drain Life procs, right? And then you put on Life Stealing enchant as well, and then you can really like go in, get some healing back in, right? It's a good time. And that's kind of the fun build, right? You can go, okay, let's go Ironfoe Dragon's Call, right? It's with Avalanche and they're mocked. So let's just see how it fares, right? Let's go in, let's do it with the racial. No, yeah, I just messed up. But the point still stands, right? You look at this, you're like, oh, 600 DPS, and now, the gambling is the gambler's fallacy, right? Now you're like, oh no, where's my damage? I mean, I'm not playing perfectly here. I am awfully missing right between the eyes here, which I need to work on that. But there you go. You got the little dragon bro. Then you go. Okay, there we go. Now we got, like, sometimes it does pay off. You're on a roll. You got the energy, you got the procs. And you got one combo point from Sinister Strike. Oh, and then you forget right between the eyes again. I mean, you could also do... Does it actually cost... It does cost energy. You probably shouldn't do Blade Flurry single target and save the 15 energy. But there you go. Yeah, look at it. 5 to 600 DPS. Depends a bit on like where you're going. Unfortunately, the Emerald Dragon, well, does scale with something. I'm not exactly sure what. But I remember it doing like at least double that, like at least triple that damage on a warrior. Maybe it's like weapon attack. Maybe it's like something attack power. But let's just say, you know, 5 to 600 DPS is the best you can get. Unenchanted, just straight up. Now, if you put in all the enchants, you can, you know, 700-ish DPS. Probably not even that. Probably not even that. Yeah, it's probably not that big a difference. Well, okay. It's kind of curious to see, but I want to like refine the gear and not have to buy duplicate enchantments for 5 different pieces. I already thought like, man, do I want to do this test with all weapons enchanted? Oh yeah, here, let me buy 40 avalanches and elemental forces and lifesteals and fiery weapons just to find out that 2 Dragon's Calls would be best, or, you know, Dragon's Call Iron Foe would be best. But yeah, that's kind of a fun build, right? You know, you maximize auto attack. You got procs, right? You got procs from the class, you got procs from the trinket, you got procs from the weapons. You can do anything, right? You got Cares of Sul Zarak. It slows the attack speed of the enemy, which maybe works still. I don't know. Maybe that still works. Who knows? You can go, okay, it's a wound. Or you can go, okay, I just want a stat stick. Or I want... Oh, this one actually, like Lord General's Sword, actually has really good uptime. Like when I did the test with that, I had like 70% uptime. And it was main hand though. So it's probably not really good uptime. That's kind of okay. It is... I don't know. It may be the best, one of the better choices, really. You got Meteor Shower from SFK, right? Doesn't proc a lot. You got the Venom Splitter. Unfortunately, the Fang of the Crystal Spider. The rare mobs in LBRS for that would be... what is it called? Crystal Fang. Well, these rares drop it at a unscaled item level, so it's kind of eh. Also, but it's kind of cool to have, right? You can have like a lot of things. You can have the life train here. You can have fire breathers. You can have 2 fire breathers. They don't have a cooldown, so 2 work twice as good as 1, right? Ripsaw does good damage, but not very often. That's kind of the problem. You can get all that, right? You get 1 hand of Antisul. I didn't read that it was unique, so farm 2. But yeah, that's like a fun build. It's probably more fun than doing raid carries and running hill spread forever. Good lord, I wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, that's what I do. like just make fun builds, and I thought, I made 200 videos, kind of share what I do. Maybe I'll showcase some other fun builds. I mean, I'm using my fun builds all the time in Taurus as well. I mean, I've got, or even other videos, I got my Mastery Prot Warrior, which I want to talk about in the future sometime. But until then, that's just my take on Outlaw Rogue, the worst spec in World of Warcraft at level 30. And maybe you want to give it a shot. I mean, it's shit, but it can be fun if you like gambling.